Look, you can claim it.
I can't.
Your hair, you should have.
I can't be the
go
only
for it.
white
You
person
can.
and be AunTea Rosé. I feel like.
I mean, do you think that White Claw is even like non-white?
Basic.
Oh yeah, I'm the most basic.
Yeah, okay, I'll change it to Rosé. I'll change it to
Yes.
Rosé.
This is a judgment-free zone.
Absolutely.
Hey, aunties, it's AunTea Dark and Stormy.
And AunTea Rosé, and we're both from Dyking Out, and we want to ask you, what's
Brewing
today?
Introducing AunTea Rosé and Dark and Stormy.
Ask your aunties, race combos.
And curiosity with Dyking Out. So get your cups ready for MinoriTea Report.
Hey.
Okay, we got 5 people on Unison on that
Right,
clap.
right.
That was a soul clap. Yes.
And how's everyone doing today? Hanging in
I'm
there.
good.
Melon,
Hanging in
awesome.
there.
Hanging in. That's all you can do. And obviously, community, we're on YouTube now, so please hit subscribe right now. Hit the bell, hit the like. You know all the stuff to hit. I don't even know everything to hit, but please hit it, subscribe. And also, as you see, it's still Pride Month, so we have another couple guests this week.
Yes.
First time we've had 2
Yes.
additional guests in a while. So, well, hello, ladies. It's the ladies from Dyking Out Podcast. How are you two doing?
Wow.
Oh,
Thank
And
you
how's
for
it
letting
going?
us in your space.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for
Absolutely.
joining our
Yes.
space.
Yeah, as a person with a white partner, I'm so happy to be here. That's the thing, right? We all have
Exactly.
white
Yes,
partners.
it
We
is.
do.
Carolyn is the white partner in her interracial relationship.
I am.
Oh,
So
there we go. There we
We've
go.
got
The
that
common
perspective.
denominator.
Representing the other side, though nobody asked for it. Nobody wants it. It's fine.
Apparently we want it, so
Yeah, okay.
We'll take all of it.
And where you
quick
guys
question,
based out of?
why? No.
do it.
Right. Ding, 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 ding. So where you two based out of?
New York.
We're in New York
Boy.
City. Carolyn's in Queens, and I'm in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn,
Okay.
stand up.
Ow.
Brooklyn.
Ow.
And then
Come on,
you're in
boroughs.
Harlem.
Yep, I'm in Harlem.
Yeah.
So we gotta be hard. What do we got? We gotta what I don't know what just happened.
I don't
My
even know
brain just
either.
took- like it went somewhere and it was not communicating with my mouth. So apparently sex is out tonight.
Oh, there we go. The
Actually, maybe
mouth
that's the best time. Maybe that's the best time. Adam, like, new things tonight, Adam.
the mouth is gone. What that mouth do? Nothing.
Nothing, not a damn thing. It's broke
No.
tonight.
Oh Lord. New York. I hear, like I was saying before we hopped on, I hear that New York's kind of different now that all the tourists are gone. So you actually get to know like your neighbors and the people that actually live in the neighborhoods now.
It's crazy. I'm still relatively new to New York, but this is a great way to get to know it. I'm walking everywhere because I don't want to be on the subway because of COVID. And I'm like, that's a really good way to get to know your city. I don't know. I'm not digging COVID. I'm digging the tourists not be here right now.
Right.
I'm digging that too, and also getting to know my neighbors, and it's been a mixed bag. I'm learning there are a lot of crazies in the neighborhood, but also a lot of really cool people. So it's kind of like finding and navigating.
Well, you started a neighborhood Facebook group to get to know the gays in your
Did you
neighborhood.
really?
I did. So there are a good number of gay people in my little neighborhood in Queens and Sunnyside. And what happened was, as part of this group that somebody formed just called Sunnyside Together, and about the neighborhood coming together during COVID. And that was where I became aware of all the insane people that live around me. I got a little scared. So I was like, what if we just snatch the gays out of here and then we form our own little group and it feels much safer and everybody in there is totally cool and very happy about that. Yeah.
Caroline, she had a little mutiny with that group, huh?
Right.
Usurped the whole group and took all the gays out.
Exactly. She's like, we're not safe here.
You gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta go. Like
But
that.
there was a straight person in the group, and she was like, "I'm here representing the A and
Okay.
LGBTQIA."
But yeah, but
Airport.
ally.
Okay,
Ally.
I was like, wait a minute.
Right,
and
right.
we're like, no, that's not what the A is. Not in this group.
That's
Not
asexual.
and definitely not this month either. Okay.
Yeah, right. What was she thinking? But I
Right.
think she really was an ally because she actually left before we had to tell her to leave. We were just like, by the way,
Oh,
A is
she
asexual.
knew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish
She's
more
like,
would do
okay.
that.
got it.
She's like, I overstayed my welcome. Okay, it's time to
Yeah.
go.
It was funny. I was actually having a conversation with a cis straight ally, and I don't know if you guys have seen on like Facebook or social media, but the little "I'm gay, I'm in," or "It sounds gay, I'm in" kind of rainbow T-shirt that's been kind of like,
Yeah.
you know. And so she's like, "Is this offensive? Because I kind of want to buy it." And I was like, I get what you're trying to say, boo boo. Don't do it.
Don't
It's
do it.
not for you. It's not for you.
Well,
Like,
there's always
not
that rule
today.
of thumb, right? If you have to ask,
Mm.
it's the wrong
Right.
thing.
Your
That's
gut
the
is
wrong
already
thing.
telling you.
Stay far
Right.
away.
right. You're
Love
right.
that rule.
It
You're
just
right.
shows how commercial gay is, though. Now it's just like, good God, wow! Like it's like everything
It's
we kind of
profitable.
wanted, but then now it's just like, there's more pitfalls within that now.
Yeah. Like I just seen Team USA posted like have been branding a lot of their stuff
Really?
for the rainbow too this year for
I
Pride
haven't
Month.
seen that.
And I was like, okay, that's cool. Still no. I spent way too much. Yeah, I don't know if y'all ladies heard some of the other episodes, but Auntie Hennessy has been spending all her coins during quarantine. So I've had to put my pocketbook on a timeout. She's on a buying freeze right now. She's like, groceries only.
Yeah. I do love though that all the protests are kind of making this less of a corporate pride this month. I feel like at
Oh
least
yeah.
I agree.
Yes.
like
I agree.
corporations are not making it fully like rainbow vodka and all like everyone's focused on the Black Lives Matter movement right now. And I don't know. I don't miss the Pride Parade right now. I don't need to see like a float of the Real Housewives of New York who all voted wave to them.
That is so
You guys
funny.
watch The
That's kind
Housewives?
of lit, though.
Okay.
I do. My husband's got me finally on board. I watch Atlanta. I watch Beverly Hills.
I watch Beverly
New
Hills.
Jersey, and that's about it. The rest of them, I'm like, this is too much for me.
I
Just
know.
read-
I'm catching up on Atlanta right now by watching all the reunions. And
Oh,
then I'm going to
man.
jump in like 3 seasons back.
That's
and
all
watch
you
I
really
just
need.
read-
Actually, is the
Yeah.
reunions.
I just read that Eva Marcel is not returning next season.
No,
Yeah.
she's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's not.
So it'll be interesting. I know that there's been a lot of rumors about them teetering with the idea of bringing Phaedra back, which I think is a terrible idea. I know that she brings the drama, but like,
I want
he's a
Phaedra so
horrible
bad.
human being.
Yeah,
Horrible
for
human
sure.
being. Like a horrible human being. Like
But
I'm
she's
surprised that
pretty
she
in
hasn't been
person.
litigated against.
Right.
Huh?
She's pretty in person though. Corey and I ran into her at a restaurant, like right when we first moved to Atlanta. And Corey's just a big housewives. That's all he cares about is housewives. And we're at the restaurant and he like got up to go use the restroom or something like that. And he like comes scurrying back. And Corey doesn't scurry for nothing. Like Corey does not move fast at all. He comes scurrying back. I'm like, what's the matter? He's like, Phaedra's out there. I'm like, girl,
That's
come on.
hilarious.
But then I was like, okay, let me go to the bathroom too.
I feel like all the housewives are all lesbians deep down. Like they all
Probably.
get drunk and like sometimes they make out. I feel like if any group of women cares that much about their female friendships, it's inherently like gay. I don't know. And then we have Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. One of them literally sleeps with another if you're following
true.
the Brandy Glanville and Denise
Yeah.
Richards stuff.
Melody, I feel like you're just saying that to try to get me to watch
What?
reality TV.
I'm just trying to get her to watch reality TV. She doesn't
For a
watch
split
any.
second, even I was like, what?
Yeah.
This
Okay.
season of Housewives Beverly Hills is pretty gay.
Pretty gay.
Alright.
It
Mhm.
is.
Wow.
It is.
Speaking of, I was kind of out in that area this past weekend. Well, now a week ago when this airs, but I was down at the LA kind of Pride March for All Black Lives Matters. And
How was that?
It was actually really awesome to see so many people of the queer community actually like come out for Black lives. And y'all know how I feel about the queer community and people of color. So I was really kind of skeptical to see how this was going to go. But it actually felt really like just, if I finally felt the love that I've been wanting from the community, you know, like as a gay Black man, I was like, wow, like
you felt seen.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But then of course, by the time we got to West Hollywood, but when the parade ended, there was someone with a truck with like this big ass DJ speaker, and the next thing you know, it turned into a dance floor. So it was like a backyard cookout at the end of it, and there were like some food truck vendors on the side. You know, some of the bars were kind of open up like for the restrooms, and if they served food, that you know they were open for food or whatever like that. But the next thing I know, I was like, now I feel like it's Pride. I feel like the march has ended and everyone's here for just a good fucking time.
Good old time.
And I was like, I kind of love it. I was like, I got my Pride in afterwards. Everyone had masks on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone had masks on. And there were just a ton of people out there. Like, I mean, there were people in cars driving around as well, being like, here's some sanitizer, here's some sunscreen, you know, like, here's a mask, here's some water. Like, they were just like, everyone was making sure that everyone was taken care of.
They're throwing masks now.
Yeah.
Like,
literally for real, right? Look, it was like they were shooting them.
Also, that's how you know that the white people are showing up at these protests if they have sunscreen. I'm like, all right.
You're right.
Okay, right.
That's how I went to the Brooklyn Liberation March over the weekend. I don't know if you guys saw the pictures that like 15,000 people came out for the Black Trans Lives Matter sort of march and rally at the Brooklyn Museum. And yeah, people really take care of you there. Like everyone had sanitizer, masks, snacks, water bottles. I was just like, homeless people should come here. Like, I don't know, like everyone
I mean, you're right,
felt very taken care of. But yeah, that was beautiful.
Even the small ones happening in my neighborhood, they had like a local Indian restaurant giving out like free vegetarian food and also like the sanitizer, the water stops along the way. And it wasn't that big of a group because it was like super local. And yeah, even at that level, people are really taking care of each other.
That's good to hear.
Love it.
I know,
yeah, the only people not wearing masks are cops. That's it.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna get you one way or the other.
Serve and protecting nobody, not even themselves.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the one I went to, like I saw maybe a couple water stations. I'm trying to remember now. I did see one guy kind of squirting hand sanitizer, but there wasn't like a lot of food or anything like that. And I haven't seen a lot of Pride-esque parades with it yet. Like I know there was one for Tony McDade. There was one in Piedmont Park for that, but other than that, it hasn't seemed like it's meshed yet, really, here in Atlanta. So
I miss Atlanta Pride.
Atlanta Pride is cute.
What's it like?
I like it better than New York Pride. Free stuff. Lots of free stuff. Like if companies are going to show up, I was walking away with like 9 packs of toilet paper. I'm like, this is great. Home Depot was giving out these like multi-tool utility pens. And as a lesbian, yeah, this is really just a lesbian's dream.
Sounds about right.
Let's promote the stereotype.
In Atlanta. Please, I love it.
Some stereotypes are true.
If you're going to pander, do it with swag.
Wait, except Home Depot's canceled.
That's the worst.
Home Depot is canceled.
Home Depot is canceled.
All the way canceled.
We're Lowe's girls now.
I was going to say, are we Lowe's? We rocking with Lowe's? Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and luckily, Lowe's is closer to where we live at anyway, so that's where we go. But like here in Atlanta, they're based here in Atlanta, so it's everything is Home Depot, everything. And you're just like, oh Lord. Yeah. But anyway, like we kind of rambled and everything.
Yeah, let's get back to y'all.
Exactly. Tell us about your show. Like, how did you start? How did you meet? What made you want to do a podcast?
Carolyn's got it. This is Carolyn's.
I've got to take it away because I birthed it.
Come on, hips. Come on now.
So basically, I got divorced and a few years back, 4 years ago, and I was having brunch with a friend and talking through things, and I was like, we should start a podcast and I want to call it Dyking Out, and like this is what it would be. And she was like, sure, let's do it. And then we kind of sat on it for a year, and she was also going through a breakup, and then we both entered new relationships around the same time, and we're just kind of figuring out our lives. But in a year, my now wife, because that's how we do, was like, what about this podcast you keep talking about? So finally I'm like, told my friend, hey, you know, I don't know if you want to be involved or not, but I'm just moving ahead with or without you, or else this is never going to get done. So and why we wanted to do it is we just felt that lesbians are very funny, and there was no like comedy lesbian podcast. Like, even though there are a lot of famous queer comedians, lesbians are just always seen as being like angry or very serious or whatever. And I do stand-up comedy, and I know so many queer women on the scene, and they're all so funny and so interesting. So we want to also give a space for those voices and those people to tell their stories, because we weren't seeing a lot of that out there.
Love it, love it, love it.
How it started.
That's awesome.
And now how many episodes are you in? Like 100 plus, right?
136. Yeah.
Oh, yes, come through.
Yeah, when did I jump on at like I'm relatively new. I'm a new co-host.
Yeah, you jumped in at 115 maybe 115. Or so.
Oh,
but so Melody,
she's a sophomore. Come on now.
Come on now.
Melody already has stands, and so Melody was a guest and was on one of our most popular episodes, probably because the topic was masturbation, but also because Melody is a wonderful, funny person.
I partake.
Hey, all the way.
Right. Why are we playing the truth or drink a game again on this episode?
We might need to bring it back.
We might need to with these ladies. We
don't have nothing but time and opportunity. It's right over there. We can pull them cards out.
I'll send that picture again to the group, with some questions.
I got it right here.
I'm vibing with these ladies.
Yes.
It's like a beauty. Like I feel like a beauty person on YouTube. Oh man,
that's so awesome.
Had a change in co-hosts and was just having different past guests of the podcast come on and kind of fill in as guest co-host for a little bit, and was really vibing with Melody, and seemed like a good person to do it with going forward. And it's been amazing and so much fun. And we've had so many great guests on the podcast. Like, not only, I feel like a lot of our most popular episodes are a lot of names that a lot of people haven't heard of. They're just like local New York comedians. But then we've also had like Margaret Cho and Desiree Akhavan and Mae Martin, Janine Garofalo, so it's a good mix.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
what would you guys say is like the thing that's most surprised you about, hosting, co-hosting, the whole podcast experience?
I'm still surprised people even listen to me, because I'm still relatively new to podcasting.
Really?
Yeah, I'm still getting used. I don't know. People care and listen, and that's new. Still relatively.
Yeah. It had to be a little bit crazier for you, Melody, because for me, I got to see it grow from, a couple hundred listeners to tens of thousands of listeners. And then you come on and just already have this like built-in audience. So
Carolyn did all the work.
All these people know you.
It is, crazy.
And that's a little bit more
on a
overwhelming.
podcast. Yeah, that's established. I feel like that's very rare, and I'm very grateful.
I do feel like a lot of people, I think one of the things that's attractive to a lot of people for podcasts is that it's still kind of wild, wild west. Like, if you remember, I don't know if you remember, maybe I'm just like, I'm very proud to be in my 40s. And I remember back in the day when you didn't have all your music in the cloud, and you used to have CDs, and you would go over somebody's house or get in their car, and like they never heard of that particular artist. And so I feel like podcasts today are kind of like that. Oh, have you heard about this? Or have you heard about that? And it hasn't become so mainstream yet. So like a lot of people almost feel like they have like this secret thing, like this thing that runs under the radar, that's giving them so much life, and like they get to introduce someone else to it. So by them listening to this podcast, they talk to somebody else, and then, they introduce that podcast to them, and it has that kind of like underground feel.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I've never thought of it like that. Yeah, it's like the new mixtape.
Come on, 1998. Got your cassette tape and everything. And then also
look, playing with the lime wire, okay?
Girl.
Download
Huzzah, right? Oh my god. I have messed
No,
up.
that's a throwback.
It's destroying my hard drive.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And then also, what are your auntie names?
Oh yes, I am AunTea Dark and Stormy.
Oh,
Yes.
Because I'm
come
dark
on
and
now.
stormy. But I'm
Yes.
realizing in the ring light, I look a lot lighter than I am. I swear to God, I'm brown. I swear to God.
like I swear I am. I swear I am.
And I'm AunTea Rosé.
Rosé all
Okay.
day.
Wow.
Pink hair.
Rosé all
She's AunTea
day.
Rosé.
I have not had any rosé this summer at all yet.
I
all.
am a
Neither.
French citizen, so I feel like it's a little bit less basic
What?
because it's like part of
Est-ce
my
que parlez-vous
heritage.
français?
Oh,
We, I have to drink rosé as soon as it starts getting warm out.
I believe it.
Yeah.
We murdered a bottle yesterday, and I only drink French rosés.
Oh,
Yeah. Thank you.
and that's why
Thank
she's
you.
Auntie Chardonnay. She's a
Okay,
little
for
fancy.
real. She knows. Yeah. We brunch. Of course, in LA. Oh, God. We did a little brunch before going to the Pride, the Black Lives Matters, all Black Lives Matters March, and of course the drink was rosé. So I was like, of course, in LA, this is how it's gonna be. Like,
When in LA, rosé.
rosé.
I actually
Rosé.
admire all of you guys who've gone out to like participate in marches and things like that. I just honestly have not had the courage to do it. I've been so protective of being around other people.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not like a hypochondriac. I'm not like overly anxious or battle with like a obscene amount of anxiety, especially, or a germaphobe. But I just feel like in the midst, backstory, I've never had a cold in my life. I've never had the flu in my life, ever. So the only thing that I get is like my sinuses will like act up every once in a while, and I'll get like a stuffy nose, but it's more like because of sinus pressure. But I've never had a cold. I've never had a flu, and I am not trying to catch Mitch. So
Yeah.
Right.
like,
Wow.
there was literally a march right down on Broadway about 2 hours ago of a whole bunch of people, and like it seems like every other day there's a different march here, particularly in New York.
Yeah.
And as much as my heart is bursting and burning and breaking, I just cannot bring myself to like be surrounded by so many people and run the risk of catching a CR. I
It was
can't
a
do
lot.
it.
It was a lot because you just see people screaming, and luckily majority of people have masks on, but I'm just like, you're
It only takes one.
I
Yeah.
know.
It only takes one.
Oh, that's what I
mean,
thought the entire time.
And see, for me, it's been like, if Rona ain't gonna get me, the police gonna get me. So I said, fuck it. I'm showing up. That's the point that I'm there for. Like,
okay, but what you need to understand is this is coming from Auntie Hennessy. So her philosophy is that house is burning over there, but there's a $20 bill on a sofa. I'm going to die at some point in my life. I'm going to get that $20.
Oh man, je suis Auntie Hennessy.
Yeah.
That is Auntie Hennessy.
Yeah, that's very much me. Very much on brand. That's me. That's moi. Yes, very much so.
That's
so,
so
I mean,
crazy.
like,
You've never been sick. Oh my God.
Mm-mm.
Did you get
I missed one day of school my entire elementary career and even collegiate career for being like sick, and that's because I got food poisoning. Yeah.
Well, then
That's
I get,
insane.
yeah.
Yeah.
hesitation.
So when I wanted to go out and protest at first, my wife was upset with me because I had coronavirus and I was sick for 2 months about with it. And she was like, how can you be going out there in a pandemic? And I was like, look, I have antibodies, and like this is a moment, and I can't just hope other people show up. And, and we're telling our listeners, like, go out there, be active. And, I'm not going to just sit back. So I'm going to go. And then we had a whole fight over this because she was about to go through IVF again because we're trying to have kids. And she's like, if you get sick and you get me sick, because she didn't have antibodies, it was a whole thing. Yeah. So then we decided to go together, wear masks, maybe go to the smaller local ones, stay towards the edges. And it seemed fine. But then when she started the IVF, she made me promise that I wouldn't go. Well, as she started the IVF, all my corona symptoms started coming back, and I felt horrible. Just like I was like, you were right. And now I feel like an asshole because I was kind of like telling her she was being dramatic and that I was going to be fine and don't worry about it. And it's not a real concern, blah, blah, blah. And then like the second I started feeling sick again, I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. That's a real thing though. Like,
yeah,
I've luckily been blessed enough to like work from home. So literally I went to one protest. Where have I been the last 3 months? One protest, I did one social distancing picnic out at a park, and gone to the grocery store. That's literally, and I got my hair cut finally 2 weeks ago for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Those are like the 3 or 4 things I've done in 3 months out of this house, except walking like the dog outside like the neighborhood.
Right.
And
it's crazy.
You know what's wild? It doesn't even feel like 3 months. Like
some days it
when
does,
I think
some
about
days it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it is March 110th today, in my mind.
Okay. You know what? Maybe that's what it is. It doesn't feel like it's like June to me. Like, like I know that I've spent a lot of time at home. I know we all have spent a lot of time at home, but the days have been so routine in terms of like non-eventful. Like you get up, you do some work, you eat, you go to sleep, and you do that over and over and over again. It doesn't matter if it's the weekday or the weekend because you're basically doing the same thing every day. And it's just like time is flying by. And I'm like, how the hell is it already the middle of June? How?
Yeah.
No, Q2 is almost over. And like at work, I'm like, oh yeah, we're going into Q3. And I'm like,
when?
Like, how we get this way? And also still fuck these numbers. Like, I'm like, it's like, I need a vacation. I'm ready to go somewhere. Like y'all talking about these times. I'm like, I'm ready to go somewhere. I mean, of the three of us, I've been the one who's been like, I've been at every other protest.
Me too.
I've been at every other protest. Yeah. See, boom. I love it. Like, I'm actually like organizing one. Like, we're recording on Wednesday, and in 2 days, I'm organizing one that's gonna happen on Juneteenth. You know, so like amazing. I have been, and I'm like 2 years new into Seattle, but like moving to Seattle has been like such a character growth for who I am as an individual, and I've really come more into my Black queerness in Seattle that I feel even more vocal and feel even more like inclined to just show up. And I'm like, so where are we meeting at? I don't, how do I get there? Like, what bus do I take? Like, how I get, because I don't know the area, but I'm still, I just want to show up. You know, I'm like, let's do this.
Right.
But I mean, like, God, don't take me,
Seattle,
don't take me when I'm ready.
There's a lot happening in Seattle lately.
Yeah, I live right by Chaz. Like the
okay, I was just gonna ask if you'd been there.
Yeah, so I live 6 blocks away from it. And I honestly, the first time I went, I cried, because it was the first time as a Black man I felt like the world could actually change. Like in my 32 years of being in this, it was the first time, outside of being a little child when you don't know any better. Like I felt like, wow, I can exist, and like people actually be there, you know, and gonna stand up, right? Yeah. You know, like I don't feel as alone in this, and also like I felt like I could just go to the person to my left, to my right, for a safe space versus trying to find the next Black person to feel like there's a safe space, you know. Mm-hmm. Like there were people here who were, you know, speaking against everything. And it was the white folks that were like booing them and get the fuck out of here, and you don't know who the fuck you are, fuck your Bible and all this, blah, blah, blah. You know, it was the white people that were standing up. Yeah. And I was just like, and it was cool just to be like,
exactly, you could exhale a little bit.
Right. Like I was like, you know what? You can take the baton
Right.
I trust you with it. You know, like,
Because
cool,
the bitch is
you know, we're
tired.
good.
He's like, I'm
Right?
tired.
You know, I really am. You know,
Keep
so
a
it was
leash
a-
on the
Vocal
baton,
cords
though. You
are
never
strained.
True, right? You're right. You're right.
But you know, okay, hold on. Let me get that back.
You know,
Thank you.
look.
Leash.
You know, I give it to you, but I'm still running right behind you, though, even though I'm still tired. I gotta snatch it back.
There are so many white people
Their
at the
activist
protest.
pull-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
But
training.
it's really dope out here. Like, Trump and the media tried to say it was bad, but I mean, it was like a street festival. I mean, like,
Yeah.
people had like set up tents. They were sleeping in the park across adjacent from the police precinct. So that way they set up a night watch. So that they made sure there were people there around the clock to keep the neighborhood safe and keep it for the people in the community. And it's right in the neighborhood too. So it just felt like that much even more like just amazing to see this.
Do people
happening.
live in that neighborhood? Like, are people like
Oh yeah,
apartments
it's
and
like the
everything in
boys'
there?
town. It's like the boys' town. It's like boys' town,
Ah,
like this
okay.
everywhere.
Like
and
Boys Town, Chicago?
Yes.
Yeah.
I lived in Boys Town when I lived in
Oh,
Chicago.
see,
I have some
okay.
Chicago roots too.
Exactly.
Really?
Like,
I
we
lived
all
at
used to live in
Halstead
Chicago.
and Belmont next to
Oh,
Oh,
damn.
you were in
Nice.
it, girl.
You are in it.
in
Damn.
it. Yeah.
Stumbling distance.
Lord.
Okay.
The
The
gayest
pregame
place
was
in
I
always
was
at your
I was
place.
at Montrose and Clarendon, but I was like,
Oh
in
my
Brentwood.
God.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
It wasn't a place.
I miss
Yeah.
Chicago every day.
Right?
Yes, me
Yeah.
too.
We talk
There is
about
no
Chicago
city
all the
on this
time.
earth
Really?
like Chicago.
I
we
spent
like
all my
that's-
20s in Chicago, and I've only been
Oh,
here like a few
That's the
years.
best gift
but-
you can give yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, truly.
I know Chicago gets like, people think of Chicago who've never really been there, spend a lot of time there. They always think of it as the Windy City, which it is. And they equate it to like just the winters. But what they don't understand is that the summers
It's
in
the best
Chicago
Oh my God, I'm getting
is-
goosebumps right now thinking
Yeah.
about.
literally can't go
Look.
anywhere in
Sunshine.
the world to beat it. It's
It's the
amazing.
Look,
best.
unless you Issa from Insecure, and she said it's the chilly city, not the windy
Right.
city.
spoken like a true Californian.
Said, I cannot even. Because it's cold
Oh,
there, duh.
Duh. Well, you ladies are going to stick around for the whole episode, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I guess we might as well hop on in to Ask Your Aunties. And so what we do is we say, what time is it? And we say, Ask Your Aunties. And we kind of get hype, and there's music that comes. So here we go. What time is it? Ask
your
Auntie.
Stick your titties there. Come on, Dewan. Yes.
I know, right? These A-cups, you know.
You know. Who has
All right.
it? I think you have it.
Am I reading this? Because this mouth is not working today.
With that mouth.
Apparently not.
Not working. She's on furlough.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, I got her. I'll try to get through this one without flubbing this up. All right, this is from Anonymous.
Just don't say interracial, okay, and you'll be good.
I can't. That is a word that my mouth cannot pronounce. Okay, inside joke. Sorry, ladies. Last week, a friend of mine who's white posted a Facebook post about a senseless murder of a Black unarmed man. So this was some time ago. He had a few, we'll call them racially insensitive. Well, right. He had a few. Girl, this is already hard enough. Don't be interrupting me. This is like the epoch and the simile and the Hobbit's book all in one. This is a long ass one. Okay. He had a few, we'll call them racially insensitive friends and family members comment that the killing was justified. He had many more friends replying to the post, commenting about the injustices faced by communities of color and attempting to educate the others on the plight of Black people in society. He's since deleted the post and all the comments. So I sent him a text separately and asked him why he deleted the dialogue. And he simply responded, quote unquote, too much drama, ha. It's been a week since this has happened, and I can't stop reflecting on the situation. What are some ways I can address this with my non-Black friends who demonstrate this completely optional allyship? The ones who post about issues the ones that post about issues that impact Black lives and profess to join in the movement unless and until it otherwise causes white people to be uncomfortable, and then they tap out.
Look, I'll say this. I'm gonna keep it short and simple. One of my favorite posts of 2020 that I forget which one of you posted, but it was on our IG and it said, I will unfriend, uncousin, unbrother, unson, anybody real quick. And I will, if you're on the wrong side of racism, the wrong side of homophobia, the wrong side of sexism, and the wrong side of any fucking ism at that matter.
Right.
And I don't care who it is. And it's very important that we stand to that, because if you are being silent, you are enabling people to continue to be ignorant. We have a voice. Use it. Or better yet, find someone else who has a voice that can say what you need to say and have them say something. Send them my way. Got enough to say, but unfriend, like if they can't speak up, I can't be friends with you, because you're aiding, you're helping the problem.
Yeah, the point is to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of these conversations.
Exactly.
They're not supposed to be comfortable. Like my girlfriend too, she's from North Carolina. A lot of her family voted for Trump. She's just been posting a lot lately. Like at first she was they would like not really talk about things around the holidays, keep it really civil, but ever since like the last couple of months she's like fuck it, and like posting articles in all caps to my Southern family and friends, directly addressing them, tagging them, like doing a lot of arguing on Facebook. And that's the point of it. Like, why would you just like post these and shout into the echo chamber of just people who agree? The point is to get through to people who don't agree.
That part.
That conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I mean, I feel like I've been posting a lot and having some great conversations and some frustrating conversations, honestly. But I feel, like you said, like the whole world is on this. Like the whole world can't be crazy. Like the whole world can't be thinking that it's wrong, you know? So that's the part to me where I'm like, how are you not seeing this movement and everyone else is finally acknowledging this, but you still want to dig your heels in? Like, I don't get it. And now is the time to finally talk about it. Like, everybody's talking about it. So why wouldn't you want to at least just have a conversation, a dialogue, whatever, to just hear me out, especially me as a Black man? Like, I grew up in a predominantly white area, and I would think if we're, especially on like Facebook, since it's supposed to be friends or acquaintances, whatever, people that kind of know you in real life or whatever, it just shows that at one point you must have been comfortable with me. And now that I'm saying that there's something going on in this world, why wouldn't you want to at least give me the time of day just to hear me out? To at least have one conversation. Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable, but that, like you said, is the point of it. And it's been swept under the rug for so long. We need to shake this shit out and see, why do you even believe what you believe? And I'm finding a lot of people honestly don't know. And a lot of times it's just like, oh, well, that's what my mom said, or that's what my grandpa did, or whatever. Okay, I'm sure your grandpa was a nice person for 60% of the time, but of course you're not going to see the bullshit like side of them. Of course you're going to adore your family for the most part. Not everyone does, but of course you're going to adore them, but you got to make sure what they told you and fed you is true or not. And if it's not, you're going to have to shake it up, and it's going to suck, but it is what it is, because not everything they told you was correct. Not everything was morally correct. Not everything was factual. So let's have a talk now. And uncomfortable is the name of the game. Sorry. It's been uncomfortable for me for 36 years. You know?
If my cousins in Iran are talking about it and going to a vigil for George Floyd in Tehran in the Middle East, then we can talk about it here. It's
absolutely.
And this also goes to like liberal friends too, are not talking about it. Like it's a lot of my very liberal friends that grew up in Central Connecticut are just silent. And they vote blue. They just don't want to get.
They don't want it on They don't want that on their walls. They don't want to have those uncomfortable.
Just their baby pictures.
Yeah.
And and fluff.
And for this, the person who wrote in, if they're still bothered by it a week later and they have the energy to do so, call it out directly. Tell them exactly how you feel, that it feels like they just clapped out of the conversation the minute that it became an inconvenience for them, and how shine a light on that privilege and how shitty that is and how that makes you feel. And hopefully that will switch a light for them and they can realize that, you know, that's very not helpful. I don't know.
But they could also be aware that their actions also, they probably also could have been so caught up in them avoiding, you know, the altercations within their own family that they didn't realize that them choosing to do that hurt someone else.
Yeah.
And it could be just as simple as that, like, oh shoot, I didn't realize I'm being complicit by taking this down and by not saying something. Because a lot of my friends who come up to me like, hey, like, what can I do? Like, I don't know what to do as like a cis straight white woman or a cis straight white male. You know, I'm like, and I literally tell them, like, the best you can do, challenge your family.
Absolutely. Talk
to your family, because you can speak to way more white people than I can, because you have way more white family than I do. Like, it's just the truth, you know?
And especially with the algorithms, like, I guarantee you not everyone, because like that's a conversation me and my husband, like, so my husband's half Greek, half Lebanese, but we always kind of get in this dialogue about like, okay, even though you identify a lot with like your Arab roots and things like that, you can still pass as a white guy when you walk into a room. And so we've kind of had a lot of that dialogue. And I'm like, it's important for you to post, because I'm sure just with the algorithms, there's a lot of people in your family and your friends that you grew up that are not seeing the posts that I'm putting out there, even though I'm putting 20,000 a day. Just the way, because I'm not liking everything that they post and everything. So it's just like, there seems like almost there's no connection there. So Facebook's like, oh, well, we're not going to show you this person's stuff. We're going to show you all the people that already agree with you, Carell, you know? And so like, that's just a dialogue with him and that I've had, and it's been uncomfortable for him. It's been so uncomfortable because, like I said, it's going to be people you care about. It's going to be your mom. It's going to be your brother. It's going to be your sister-in-law, whatever. It's going to suck. However, like you said, Jerrell, it's got to come from you, because they're probably not going to listen to me after a point. They're going to either mute my shit and they're like, okay, at least I'll listen to him or see what Corey's cooking today or whatever, you know, what it may be. It's up to people that do not look like me to continue this conversation and continue the posts and things like that, because they're, after a while, are not going to want to hear Carell keep on talking about it. And there's going to be a point where, I hope the momentum doesn't stop, but I'm realistic to know that in 2-3 months, there might be a point where it's not as much as it is right now. And I'm going to continue to talk about it, but I need my friends and family and husband and everyone to continue on their pages, because it's so important, and it's got to come from people outside of my race, unfortunately.
Well, and I had to have the conversation with Fizz. My partner is from Kosovo, so he's not even an American citizen. He won the green card after the lottery, so he still has a whole nother year before he can apply for his citizenship.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, so most of his family and friends in his Facebook is back in Europe, you know? And I told him, I was like, you know, this isn't just a U.S. thing. This is a global thing, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, you may not know this because the country you come from don't have really any Black folks, like, at all. If they do, they're U.S. soldiers on the military base, you know? But I was like, but outside of doing it because it's right, you should also be doing it because you are in a relationship with a person of color. And it's also part of your job in that interracial relationship to show support. And when you don't open your mouth, it makes me feel as if there is a part of you that don't see me. Right. And if you don't see me, then that means there can't be a we, you know? So right. So if we're going to be solid, then you have to speak up, because I will go up to bat for my loved ones. I don't give a damn who it is. I will always stand up for those who I love and care about. You know, my chosen family and my blood family, within reason, who we're all good with, because some of the blood ones got the boot. But I think it's important to stand up for those you love. And if I can do that for you, the least I expect is for someone to do that for me, you know? So.
Yeah. And another thing that I want to add too, it's not just talking to like your racist family members is what a lot of people are being told, but also your ignorant family members, I would say, is more the thing, because there are a lot of people who, you know, might have never said anything that sounds remotely racist in their life, who are so ignorant to these issues and not invested at all in making change. And you know, my wife is from Peru, and her family's all in Peru, and they're, you know, they have their own type of racism within Peru based on how light or dark skinned you are. But she was telling her family,
Damn colonizers.
Right? That's
fucking it up for everyone around the world.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy there. I've learned a lot about the culture there since being with her, but her family like doesn't know anything about what it's like, what Black people are going through in the US. So she was trying to point them to resources because they wanted to learn. They wanted to understand what was going on. And it doesn't really make a difference in their day-to-day life, but like it helps if we can all understand, so then they can explain it to the people that they know, and
absolutely,
etc.
The ripple effect.
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts. One, I love this, and I sent you guys an email just so that you have it, because I didn't have everybody's phone number, or this I would text it. But I sent you guys this diagram that I saw that I absolutely love, because there's this concept that, at least it's new to me, I don't know if it's been around for a while, and I have a pretty decent grasp on the American vocabulary, so it was interesting. But this term of anti-racist, and this diagram was showing the different paths to moving from basically the fear zone all the way through the growth zone. And my first point that really struck me with this particular Ask the Aunties question is that everybody's on their own different journey. Everybody's on their own different journey. And as polarizing as this these racial tensions are, polarizing meaning you're on one side or the other, right? But where you sit on those sides is nuanced. And there are people that are aligned philosophically with the idea that Black Lives Matter and what the Black Lives Matter movement is all about, right? And when I say Black lives, I'm talking about Black all lives, you know, not just Black cisgender, but like all lives. Ma'am. So, but, you know, like, so philosophically, there are people that are aligned with that. But there are people that, because they understand it intellectually, those same people might not be equipped to have the language to be able to effectively communicate it to other people. So a lot of times you have people that are, since we're talking about Facebook, a lot of times you have people that are sharing other people's ideas because they don't have the language, the skills, the inert understanding, and the ability to articulate in a way for others to be able to get what their meaning and what their concepts are. So they're sharing something. But in so doing that, a lot of times there are people that share stuff that they aren't ready for what conversation comes from that. So then they become silent, and then that becomes a place of fear. And a lot of times that's a place coming from a place of ignorance. Like, I just don't know enough on how to manage this. And so I resort to, I'm going to remove it. Right, I'm not, and although their intentions might not be to, you know, negatively impact the Black Lives Matter movement or show disrespect or non-support to their Black, you know, colleagues and friends and family and all this stuff, it can be perceived in that way. And I think that's one of the reasons why this dialogue is very important. I think the other part of it is that as someone who is on their own journey and becoming anti-racist, so if you are, you know, a person that is not of Black heritage and you are on the journey of trying to understand, articulate, and be an advocate, an ally, what we call in the LGBT community as an ally, and what we articulate as an ally is someone who speaks out and is educated and can influence other people. It's a long way to get from, you know, I don't know anything to I'm now being an ally and I'm educated enough to have a conversation. And so I think the second point that I wanted to make was, we, as hard as it is for us, and trust me, I know, because I've been struggling with this a lot lately, you know, we have to be careful not to quit to judging the intentions of someone else because they posted something or chose not to post something. There are a lot of people that are silent right now because they don't know what to say. They don't know if they should say something, and they certainly don't want to say the wrong thing and end up getting canceled because that's not what's in their heart. But sometimes there are those of us who will jump on those people saying, I see that you haven't been saying nothing. You've been quiet. Why aren't you speaking up for us? And they really just don't know what to do or say. And they don't want to say the wrong thing and make things worse, not only for themselves, but also for the movement. So I think we have to have a little bit of compassion.
Say that too, though. Like, I think there, at least especially now, there's an opportunity to say exactly what you said. I don't know how to verbalize this right now. Like, I think literally if you just put that, and hopefully it's not a cop-out. Hopefully you're doing the research, because we're in an age of information now that you could do a quick Google search. You could go to the library. You could do a lot of shit to educate yourself. So I hope people don't just use that as a crutch. But if you seriously care and don't know what to say, just say that. That helps a lot. And then that people can point you in the direction, be like, I know you personally, and I know how you maybe kind of think. Here's something that might jog something in your mind or help you verbalize or something like that. Because it's been, I mean, this has been going on for centuries, A. You know, B, especially the heightened stuff within social media has been at least the last decade. You've had at least a decade to think and try to understand and figure out and educate yourself. So I don't want it to be a cop-out. I completely agree with you, Duan, but I do know some people might utilize that as a cop-out, like, oh, I don't know what to say. I don't want to, bitch, well, you better learn real quick, because because this is not going to go away. This is not going away. The ball is rolling, and I'm loving that the ball is rolling. The momentum's there, and you're going to have to figure something out. You're going to have to either sign language, something, because after a while, it does, even if that's not correct, the perception, like we always kind of talk about that, the perception of you not speaking up or the perception of you not trying to educate yourself might even be worse at times, because we're putting words in your mouth for you. You better figure out something before we put those words in your mouth then, you know?
And I think the other thing that, like, if I go back to what the question was, which is, you know, how do I address this with, you know, my non-Black friends, you know, who are in this situation, you know, I think a lot of what we said applies. You know, it's about, to the degree that you are able, because a lot of us are triggered right now. A lot of us are triggered and emotional and, you know, are in spaces of self-preservation. Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to have, like, I was in a very, like, really dark place emotionally 2 weeks ago, you know, like, not necessarily depressed, but like frustrated because so much was happening, and I wasn't in a place where I could make not only sense out of it, but also see a path forward, in the sense of, how do I turn this into an opportunity to channel my energy? I couldn't even see, like, where I could channel my energy. I'm in a much better place right now, but there are a lot of people that are on various ends of that spectrum, you know? So, like, this idea though, like, what do you do with your friends if you have it in your heart and you have it in your faculties to be able to have a conversation? It's really about having the conversation, because it literally is about having the conversation. And I would encourage you to take it offline. I know y'all are so quick to, you know, have these little Twitter fingers, you know, and say something to your friends or whatever. But sometimes you need to pick up the goddamn phone and call somebody so you can have a heart-to-heart conversation with somebody that you profess to care about. Now, if you don't care about that person, and this is somebody that like, you know what, you can go after them and then cut them off, and then it's a done deal. But what I'm sensing from the Ask Auntie question is, this is a person that you have a genuine relationship with, that you see some behavior that is unbecoming of a queen. and this is an opportunity for you to have a conversation with them. And I would encourage you guys to have meaningful, authentic, real heart-to-heart conversation. If it is possible to have it online, do that. But I think it's much more effective when you, especially if you care about somebody, to pick up that phone, text them and say, hey, can we hop on a call real quick? I want to have a conversation with you because I care about you. Yeah. And then have an honest conversation, and then go from there.
Yeah.
That's what I keep telling my girlfriend. She's having all these text fights with her family. They see that she posts something on Facebook directly targeting her family. To my racist or to my Trump supporting family, blah, blah, blah. And her family can't get past the fact that she's calling out her family. So now she's getting text messages from her brother that's like, her one brother who didn't vote for Trump even is like, you don't say anything about our family. I don't agree. I hate Trump, but you can't talk about our family like that. He's so hung up on the fact that she's potentially disrespecting the family that he can't get past that. And so she's texting back and forth with him. Like, just call him. He's your brother. You should be able to talk about this. Call as many people as you possibly can. Don't hide behind the screen. And also be able to identify what's a teachable moment and what's just a troll. Like, there are just some people who are there.
Can you say that again, please? Can you please say that again?
Identify if it's a teachable moment or a troll. Have you guys seen this meme going around? I quite love. I need to pull it up.
I saw it because you sent it to me.
All right. So it's a white guy and it says on it, "Hi, I'm a white dude who likes to play devil's advocate because other people's struggles are theoretical to me. It's fun to debate their right to equality. While we're here, I would love to center my voice and perspectives about a cause that means nothing to me. I'm here to take up all the oxygen in the room and exhaust people who are trying to fight against injustice so that we can maintain the status quo, which serves me. I have no interest in learning. Your frustration is my goal. Let's engage." And
Gaslighter. Gaslighter. That's all they are. Yep.
Yeah.
So like, I'm seeing my girlfriend spinning her wheels, you know, responding to just a lot of bigoted trolls. And when she could be putting that energy to actually talking on the phone or engaging with people who will actually listen. Like, you really need to be able to differentiate those two types of
I think that's so powerful of a statement, because there are so many people, like, on social media, the vast majority of people that are on there for the purpose of like engaging with people socially. But there is a subset of people who really just want the hype. They really want the likes. They really want the comments. They really want to go, they really want to go viral, and they will do, say, and post anything to get those reactions. And good-hearted people like us and your partner and many people that we know fall into this vicious trap of getting gaslit. And then we think, oh, we're going to teach them, we're going to educate them, we're going to da-da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, they don't give two shits.
They don't give a damn.
Yeah.
All they're doing is just trying to get you riled up, so that's less energy that you're spending on the real deal.
Right.
Learned
Those
that
are people I've
into
learned.
Trump.
Yeah, I've learned how to like notice that right away and be like, nope,
not today.
You gotta go. You gotta go. I literally delete those people right away.
I have not
Today,
deleted
chin
anyone.
strap, not today.
I will only delete the gaslight people because there's no time for them.
You
lost
see
cause.
Everything I'm
lost
everything.
cause. But those who are ignorant and they believe in growth and have the capability to grow, I will make time every single time for those people, because those are people who want to. And if you want to, I want to. So we will find a common ground. But if you don't give a flying fuck, I ain't gonna give a flying fuck. Like, I got other things to be doing.
Yeah. Other people to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on,
question. I'm sweating right now.
That was a good one. That was a good one. Thank you for
that was a good Ask Your Auntie
whoever
question.
sent that question. Keep sending your Ask Your Auntie questions in. You can DM us. You can send it to aya@minorityReport.com. Woo! That was a good one.
And I would say for whoever sent that, because that person was anonymous, let us know if you did have a conversation or if our advice helped you at all. I think at the end of the day, we keep talking about, in almost every single one of these Ask Your Auntie questions, there's just this commonality of having a conversation. And unfortunately, a lot of us just don't have the skills, the conversation skills, to know, what do I say? How do I say it? And this is the opportunity to raise those questions up, and we'll give you guys a different perspective, and you can, take it and run with it and let us know how it works out for you.
Definitely. Ooh, well, speaking of skill set to have a conversation, it was the finale of our favorite show, Insecure, this week.
Oh my God.
I don't know where 10 weeks went.
That went by so fast.
Really fast.
For real.
Really fast.
10 weeks. 10 weeks.
It was a great episode. I like the ending the most. Just like when Lawrence came over.
And spoiler
and I love
alert
the
if you haven't watched
editing.
it, my bad.
Yeah, spoiler
Yeah,
alert.
guys, my friend spoiled it
This
for
is
me,
a whole
and
week.
I was
This is a whole
so
week
mad.
after, so it's a wrap. We told
Yeah,
them
at
way at
this
the very
point-
beginning.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, you are a week behind, so
Yep.
you ain't got no excuse.
Okay, but I logged onto Twitter not even 5 hours after the premiere, and my friend Elise
Nope.
tweeted, "I knew she was pregnant."
Oh my God!
I knew Canola was pregnant, and I was so upset because that's not something I would have seen coming. Like,
I didn't see
I
coming
knew
until
something
he
was going to
walked
happen
in.
with her.
As
But
soon as he walked in, he had
Same
that
here.
guilty puppy
Yeah.
dog
Yeah.
face, and it was like,
knew it.
And I was
like, I have some bad news. And at
I
first,
knew
I
it.
was like, for a split second, I was like, oh, he's gonna go to San Francisco and wants to break up with her. But then the way he was standing there, I was like,
yeah, I was like, oh no,
he got a baby on the way.
Uh-huh.
He got a baby on the way, and I
When
knew
he
it.
and Condola broke up, I said, you know what? She's gonna be pregnant. She's gonna show up pregnant. It's gonna fuck up the whole spot.
it's not the
I
last
knew
of
it.
her. I knew it wasn't the last of her, but I really didn't see that coming.
And here I was at the beginning of the season, be like, oh, I like her. I like their relationship. Fuck her. She done fucked up my character.
So do you guys know anyone named Condola or?
No, I really don't.
I heard of Condoleezza, but not
Yeah.
Condola.
I really don't.
Like-
I forget. Issa said that she named her after someone else, though.
Yvonne and
okay.
her were on like a Instagram live, and I guess Issa just loves old school names, so I guess she just has like a list of old school names, and she picked it.
Oh, okay.
But then she said, "I'm mad that I picked that one because everyone keeps calling her Condoleezza."
Yeah.
Or canola oil.
Or
Everyone on Twitter is calling her canola oil.
I feel bad for her because she as an actress in this role, number one, kudos to her for playing the hell out of this role and for obviously for the script that allowed her to be able to bring this
She's
role to
really
life.
good.
Yeah,
She did, because just like Molly with Yvonne Orji, like these actors are doing such an amazing job at embracing the fullness of these characters, bringing them to life on the screen. And we as the audience are just riddled with so many passionate emotions because of their accurate portrayals of like what they're supposed to, how they're bringing these works to life. And it's great, but like, she's getting beat up in on social media. I feel so bad for her.
Oh, is she?
Social media is not having
they are going in on. They call her
really
every other name that begins with a C.
Like the actress.
It's not even her.
Yes.
She's a bad person.
They do that with Issa though too. Like Issa Rae says it
Molly.
all the time that people come up and be like, "Why'd you cheat on Lawrence? Why'd you do my homeboy like that?" You
That's
know?
how good the writing and acting is.
Yes,
So
it really
true.
is.
Even for me, I went to school for TV writing and producing. Like, it's hard for me to watch, and I worked in TV for a while. It's very hard for me to watch TV and not see it as like a specialized, just, I'm always criticizing and I know what's happening behind the scenes. But with that show, like, I get fully immersed in it.
That's
like
good.
it's like I'm in that world. And
I love everything.
You know
about
what's
the
how
show.
good it is.
Even the soundtrack. The soundtrack came
The
out last
soundtrack is
weekend.
so
Killer.
Oh,
Killer.
I was in California last weekend, just playing the hell out of that damn soundtrack, because it gives you everything on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
you get and then of course to be driving down, like Hollywood Boulevard, like listening to it. I'm like, where's Inglewood? I want to roll through now. Like I was feeling myself.
From the first episode, they started with a song from Sudan Archives, and I was like, this is going to be the best soundtrack yet. They have the best music. Whoever does it is a genius.
During that episode, like the very last scene where obviously they're together and oh, I'm glad you called. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Kind of moment.
Issa and Molly for
Issa and
people
Molly.
who this is a spoiler for.
Yeah, and that is true. But the second the music played, I knew it was Tyler, the creator, and I was like, oh. And the name of that song is "Can We Be Friends" or something like that. And I look at Corey, I was like, oh my God, even the music is telling us exactly what's happening on the screen right now. It's so incredible. Oh, I love it. And once again, my favorite character, Kelly, killed it.
Oh my God. I hope next season we get a strong Kelly storyline.
Here.
She's the only one who didn't really get one this season, and she's the funniest. And Natasha Rothwell,
but she's also been writing and
for the
directing.
show. Yeah,
yeah,
she's busy, but she's just one of the funniest people on earth to me.
Everything, and I love that.
And there was an interview.
Oh, go ahead.
There was an interview with her, and she was just talking about how, number one, most of her dialogue is all like off the cuff. It's all improvised because she's just like, she's embodied that character, and she says she's nothing, absolutely nothing like that.
Yeah,
like that's the thing that like boggles my mind, because you just look at her and says, okay, she's gonna be funny, she's gonna be crazy, she's gonna be the one that's gonna be like saying all the like when she, the whole episode when she was talking in an English accent.
Yes.
Girl.
Yeah, the Black Party.
The Black Party, like,
Girl.
like,
I just hope it doesn't
thinks of
typecast
this?
her. Like, I know she's supposed to be in Wonder Woman, so I hope the Wonder Woman
Oh,
characters.
really?
Yeah, like I hope that character is completely different, because I
Say less.
like
I'm there.
It's like so many times when you're so good at a role, then Hollywood would just kind of get more of that same
they'll
kind of
want
role.
you to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pray she doesn't get typecasted, because she's just too good to be in that singular lane, you know.
She was in
I think she'll
the
be part of
first
that.
episode of the Hulu series Love Victor, which is based off as a spinoff of Love Simon. And she plays the
I
vice.
didn't see that yet.
She plays the vice principal in that show, and she's in the first episode. And from there, I was just like, I love her. I love her. I love her. I need more of this. It's nice to see her, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Blowing
being
up.
recognized
Yeah,
and
she's
stuff like that.
Also,
like,
the fact she tweets Donald Trump every day. You
Every
see
day,
this on
yeah.
every
Every
single
day.
day she tweets him, "You are trash."
Yes.
Every day.
I didn't
Like
know
the
that.
last
That's
3
hilarious.
It's
That's
everything.
hilarious.
It's the first thing I see every time I log on. You are
Wow,
trash.
that's
You are still
funny.
trash. You're
Uh-huh.
trash.
The gag for me, so unpopular opinion, I think I said this last week. I honestly think last week's episode, not the finale, but episode number 9 should have been the
Mhm.
finale.
It
I
had
stand
more
by,
of a finale.
and I stand by that,
I agree with
because
that.
to me this episode felt more like we're coming back and it's an opening of a whole new season.
Yeah.
A lot
Um,
happened. Yeah.
I
And
agree.
so, but then like the gag for me was Asian Bae dropping that bomb about the relationship unfolding.
So they're like
Hey.
done, right?
that wasn't a bomb to me. I'm glad he was like,
Get
I'm
your
tired
shit
of this.
together. Exactly.
like I'm not the only one in this relationship. Like, I mean, no, you're not the only one in this relationship. Like, I deserve to want what I need in this relationship as well. And it was about time that he actually checked her, because he should have been more stern as far as how he felt when he was speaking on her and Issa's issues. That was a real time weeks ago where he should have interjected him like, well, I know you kind of do this with us too, and so maybe you might want to think about this too. He had been being too nice, and he was enabling her to act like that.
They have
And
the
Issa
same
was a real
conflict
one.
every episode.
Yeah,
Every
you know,
episode,
and it was just like, are you kidding me? Like, first of all, it's your boyfriend's, it's your partner's family. We all know the golden rule is sometimes you just gotta fucking suck it up.
Exactly.
Even if you don't like them, even if you got an issue, you just sit there and you smile. You but
Tough it through.
sure,
And
Jan, it's
honestly,
good to see you too.
Yeah,
You
she
know?
was
Honestly,
bold.
like, that was if ever there was a sign of an olive branch, that was it. Like him inviting them to like the box seats of whatever sporting
The
event they were
basketball
going
game.
to,
Basketball.
Yeah.
whatever that is, where there is a ball and a bunch of men,
She's not
and
the
there's no
sports
sex
queen of the
involved.
Look.
But like that, if anything, was an olive branch. And like the thing that's conflicting for me, but I also appreciate it, is the dichotomy between who she is as a professional in that show, meaning a lawyer who understands context, subtext, and language, because you have to interpret it every goddamn single day through contract law, and the reality of who she is as a woman, and she doesn't seem to get it. Like she
Or
doesn't seem to
want
get
to
it.
get it. I think that's more
doesn't-
than anything. She
yeah, she
doesn't
doesn't
want
want
to
to.
get it. Because I think everyone, like her boyfriend, her parents, her brother, sister,
Co-workers.
co-workers have all kind of coddled her and let her be that way. So she didn't ever had to change. And
Yeah.
she doesn't
Yeah.
want to. That's her comfort zone. And now that people are starting to push, like Issa was pushing, Asian Bae, I hate that term, but
I
her
know.
boyfriend was pushing.
Andrew.
And she doesn't know what to do with that. And she's like,
I
oh
think
my
it's-
God, everyone's pushing me now, and I actually got to decide if I want to change or if I
Yeah.
can push harder and stay the same, which kind of goes back to
Mhm.
like the whole like ask your auntie's question. Honestly, some people honestly don't want to because they're so stuck in their comfort zone.
Oh, that
You
and
know?
they're not stuck. They want to be in that.
And they
They
want to stay
want
in the
to be in
comfort zone.
that because that
And-
defines them.
Exactly. So I think that
Mhm.
was her issues. Exactly. It absolutely is her DNA. It defines her, and she doesn't know how to grow. So it's been interesting.
The question she has to ask for herself is who would she be? Because I think this is the thing that she's afraid of as a character. Who would Molly be if she weren't holding a grudge against somebody? Because I think she's been doing that for so long. Like, she's a real person. Y'all know we're talking about her. Like, she's a real
we show is. We show it.
We've got the whole psychoanalysis going.
Lord,
but like, in these seasons that she's been a character that we have had in our existence, she has always been the type of person to hold some type of grudge and the person to hold the power. And the thing that she has to struggle with and the thing that she's afraid of is answering the question, who could I be if those two weren't the pillars that I were holding myself attached to? It's tough.
I think go ahead, baby.
I just love the story of postpartum that they hit.
That's what I was going to say. Absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
I was going to say a half-hour comedy show can touch on so much. They even got postpartum depression in there. What? And so well
Black
done.
And brown communities, you don't hear that. Like, you
don't
hear anyone talk about that because it's either a sign of weakness or we always got to like be strong and maybe I'm a single mom and this and that. But it's just like, these are legit issues.
Yeah.
And they're calling it out in a way that you're like, oh my God, I see that, or I heard that, but I didn't want to approach them or whatever. Oh, I love it. And it also showed
mental health issues is still one of the last taboos of the Black culture experience.
Absolutely.
And
it's
they
one of the last taboos,
especially
and they
through Molly.
2 issues.
Mm-hmm. Yes, especially through Molly. I hadn't really known about
that too.
Right off the bat with her and that homophobia.
Oh, girl, that
or biphobia.
That still bothers me to this day.
I know
she acted like that. Like,
and he's one of the hottest people on earth. Like,
yeah, he can sit on my face.
Yeah. But stand-up comic Langston Kerman.
Yeah,
and just for AunTea Rosé's benefit, because she's not like part of this whole thing.
Sorry.
I know.
Molly,
It's okay.
it's okay.
I know a little bit. I know. I watched part of season 1.
Okay,
Molly at one point was dating this guy who was like on paper perfect, but he had he had a bisexual experience. He had slept with a guy in his past, and that came up in the conversation, and then Molly never spoke to him again.
And then he kind of resurfaced in this last season just to kind of double down on how Molly is so judgmental and holds these kind of ideas about people. He resurfaced and she was like, he was with his brother at this block party they ran into him. She just assumed he was with a lover and was like, he's still out there being gay and whatever. And then it turned out, no, he was on a double date with a woman and his brother. And she just can't see past the homophobia.
Yeah. No, I really appreciated the postpartum part. Cause like, like we were just saying, it's something that's not really like mental health is still something not really talked about in the Black community. And like, I didn't really know it was a thing until like my sister kind of went through that, at one point, when she first had her kid, and she like called me and it was real. And I was like, at first I was like, are you like, you good? Like, just let me take the baby, we're gonna be okay. Like, I love you. Do what you need to do. We're gonna be good. Okay, But then, she took the time to, dive deeper into herself, because she's like, I don't recognize myself. I don't even know who I am. And so seeing that story, and I was talking to my sister about this. We talk all the time. She's like my best friend. Aww. But like she was saying that she saw that episode and she was just like, it had been outside of just seeing a Black woman on screen, she was like, this was another way I finally saw myself represented, through a life experience on TV. And she was just like, I've never felt that particular thing. I've never seen that part on TV, and it felt, good. Like she felt like she wasn't alone. And I was like, you know what? Come through, Issa, for really touching on these subjects that a lot of people don't have, that they don't have these conversations with. I was like, and why you gotta watch it. It's so good.
And well done, Amanda Seals. So
come on, I love it.
And Juwan, you hit on it last week too, like the duality piece. It was interesting to kind of see as well the duality of the postpartum, is because as much as she was falling apart, everyone else was falling apart and didn't see that she was falling apart.
Right.
And until the last episode, it had been weeks and months, and they didn't realize that she was falling apart because they were all kind of falling apart in their own way.
Yeah.
And shout out to her husband. Shout out to her husband, to the character of her husband. Because I love the fact that the husband didn't go into the whole like, oh, how dare you? That's selfish, blah, 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 blah. Instead, he was just like, I saw this. I didn't say something. I could have done more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the fact that he was the spouse that supported her, you know. I know it's like, you're going through something. It's my job to be there for you. I'm so sorry I let you down and I didn't do what I need to do as even though I saw you going through something, you know, like, I just love that he didn't blame her. He still, at the end of the day, loved and supported her.
How about the scene with the police, though? Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah. That was so good.
Okay, AunTea Rosé. They, one of the characters that was postpartum depression, she kind of disappeared, and it brought all the characters together, and they went on this kind of hunt to track her down and find her. And they were on a city bus, and they realized she might be at the Sheridan. They're on this bus, they're passing the Sheridan. They're like, we have to get off the bus. You can't get off a bus if it's not at a stop. And they're like telling the bus driver, we need to get off. And Kelly, the funniest character, slams on the emergency brake or open the door button, and then like the police are called, and they have a moment where they confront the police, and it was really weird. Obviously, they shot this way before this moment we're having right now.
Right.
But it was very kind of interesting to see that play out in the middle of all of this. I
love that the officer was like, not today.
Not today.
Yeah.
Everyone go home. He was like, not about to get my ass.
Didn't Kelly say something like, you know, officer, you do not want to make this a racial incident. Now, do you? And then he was like, nope,
not today.
Everybody go home.
It was Molly. Molly was like, she's like, I'm a defense attorney. Blah, blah, blah. Is there a reason why you're addressing us and not these white people?
Right.
And he was like, not today. And then Kelly was like, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck you. You cool.
That scene was everything.
I just felt like that was such crazy timing to watch.
I was like, how?
And how did they fit all that in 28 minutes and 30 seconds?
Right.
One of the things that I really appreciate out of the many things about the writing on the show and what Issa does is that she uses this platform in a very responsible way. You know, like Jerrell, you were talking about how you appreciated seeing, you know, Tiffany's husband, you know, being kind of like, you know, like, I should have seen this, I should have been there, you know, instead of like blaming. And I think particularly in the Black community, we do not have, certainly within the majority of our own homes, because most of the males that are in the homes are incarcerated, because 36% of the Black community is in prison.
Watch 13th.
Yes.
But so you don't have that representation of what right looks like within the home. And then the portrayals of, you know, Black people and that are going through struggles are through almost like one lens of outrage and frustration and anger. And so as Tiffany's character, the one that was going through postpartum depression, was going through her experience, a vast majority of those portrayals, and not just Black, just any portrayals of postpartum depression, is the woman's chaotic. I can't take these kids anymore. And it's not as, certainly there are those experiences, and I can't speak of that personally, but I know of people that have gone through postpartum depression, and it's not always to that extreme. So I give that as an example to say that she uses her platform in a way that allows for a positive and educational representation of what to do, what to say, how to act, how to behave. Just like when Nate came back to Issa's character, Nate, one of the guys that Issa's character was dating, came to her and said, I'm sorry I ghosted, but you know, I just found out that I'm bipolar. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, Issa's character, what you typically would see is, you know, I don't care, you still da-da-da, and made it about her. But then she paused and she was like, I didn't know that you were going through that. I'm so sorry to hear that. And she showed compassion in that moment. And it is those specific instances that give us as viewers examples of how to use language, how to react, how to respond. So like I go back to our Ask the Aunties question, right? Of how do I do it? Like these are the portrayals that the people at large get to be able to leverage to help them have these difficult conversations.
These are the days of our lives. But anyway, okay, Rose, I'm sure we just bored you for like the last 30 minutes.
No.
It's so funny. I was just talking to her about this a couple
deserve it.
days ago about this show. I was telling her I recently came out as bisexual on our podcast. Like I just let all the listeners assume that I was a lesbian. It's called Dyking Out. And I realized I should probably come clean and be like, I am also attracted to men sometimes. But truly, like, I am attracted to mostly women and then just all the men on Insecure. That's it. That's my sexuality.
Really?
Me too.
It's like you're
Me
bisexual.
too.
Or everyone on
Right.
Insecure. I'm attracted to every. That's
Even
everyone.
TSA Bay. Even TSA Bay. I was kind of like, you know what? He could probably get it.
I know.
He could probably get it.
We saw him working.
Exactly.
And they had the after hour parties, right?
He said,
I
push
got
on
some
that booty
Hennessy
button.
and weed for you. Here you go. I was like, oh, he's making my lingo.
I just like when
I
he said
love
that
it.
booty button.
Yes.
I was
Press
like,
the
okay,
booty button.
TSA
So funny.
Bay. Okay. Anyway, so you know what? We're having a great time with you two, and we weren't planning on doing this, but I think we need to bust out Truth or Drink.
I think so.
Okay.
Too. This will
We
be
need to.
awesome.
I think
I
we need to.
love this.
If you're down, have you ever played
Yeah.
Truth or Drink?
No.
No, do I need to get a drink?
You do need a drink.
That is true. I only got a
Mhm.
oh.
Do you guys mind if I just take a minute to go grab one?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
go
go
grab
get
one.
go
Alright.
get your
Go get
drink,
one.
and we'll gather all of the things.
Yeah.
Let's
Wait,
see.
yeah. Can I
So are we
battle while she gets it?
Yeah, go
do it. Yeah.
Go
Go
You
ahead.
can pause
Go
and-
ahead.
Yes,
Okay,
Yeah.
be
Mhm.
right back.
exactly. I'll do a little snap.
Bam.
Let me get a refill then.
Can I get a
Can need a refill? I guess this.
That song, I still listen to that song
Hey,
probably like
I
once a month.
love that song.
She sang The
she
mess
did.
out of that song.
She
Oh.
did. She did. What is that? Chrisette Michelle?
No, it's
Who?
it starts with the E. Hold on. Elle Varner.
Elvana, that's
Yeah.
right, Elvana. I
Woo.
love her, especially that
Say
song.
that.
Oh, what a night! Oh, what a night!
Yeah.
3
Oh,
shots.
yes.
And hey, I was like, oh, she's singing my life. I had that night 3 shots of Patron. Like,
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I just happened to have this White Claw.
You know what?
I brought it for the other day, like I was on like another Zoom call and ended up not drinking it, so it was sitting here. It's warm, but it was either that or Powerade. All right, are we gonna do
I'm
this?
curious. I'm curious before we dive too much. Like,
Yeah.
the Zoom call though is still recording, so we should probably still keep going for the YouTube though.
Yeah, and I can slice this part out if we need to on
Okay,
the YouTube and
cool.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Are we doing the
I
red
wish
box
I wish
though,
the Insecure shop had like a Men of Insecure calendar. They don't even have to have like their clothes on, but like
Ooh.
if they
Or they
had a
can.
Men of it, I mean they can. I'm just saying, but like I would buy that. Like they could
Absolutely.
literally it could just be their headshots.
Ooh.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Or it should be like every butt like scene that they've had.
So
I
many.
would love that. Like a Men of Insecure calendar. I would so
Just like
love
Nathan's
that.
eyes. I'll take it. Like,
Right. And Nathan is out there like protest. Like Nathan is so
saw that.
out there. Like,
Yeah.
I love it.
He was just live. He was just live
They
on
still-
Facebook, on Instagram
Makes me have
today.
even bigger of a crush on him.
I just pulled up their
Cute.
I just put up their shop and they still have that we got y'all
Oh my God.
sweatshirts out there.
I know. I went to wegoty'all.com or
That's
something. Like it's a real
hilarious.
website where you can get their We Got Y'all merch.
Okay,
That's
so
hilarious.
which deck are we doing for Truth or Drink? So Truth or Drink is like it started online, so they kind of give you context.
Yes.
The community already knows. We played it a couple times on a few episodes.
Okay.
Like it's this deck of cards. It's meant to spark conversation. Some of them are deep, some of them are funny, some of them are very sexual, whatever it may be. But the point is to either obviously tell the truth from the card or the drink. And it's fun. We like doing it with people that like to have fun with it and everything. And you guys are giving us that energy, so we're here all day for it.
Yes.
Literally all day for it.
So you don't have to
do it.
like. I mean, we're an open book. We've shared probably too much on this podcast.
Everything.
Still getting before we start, I
Everything.
have to say this too, because I'm still getting crap about the body count episode last week. So ladies,
What
said
happened?
something too.
so ladies, so one of the question was like the ask answer question was like, does your body count matter? Like, does the amount of
Your
people you
partner's
slept with,
body count, yeah.
before your partner, like, does that matter? Okay. And I said, it doesn't matter. And I know my number. Okay. But I've been getting dragged for my number. Okay. Which is 26.
Okay.
Which is 26. Okay.
I feel like mine's around there.
Right. And I thought my number was high. Okay. I thought it was high.
And then DeWan and I were like,
well, for lesbians, I feel like it's high.
I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
I have literally no idea.
I've always said around 30. I don't know, but yeah, that feels. I guess it's.
And I stopped sleeping with other people like 5 years ago.
Right. It's like
same.
I mean,
same.
I've been in a relationship, so
I haven't had to think about it.
I just have one of those photographic memories. Like, it's very easy for me to remember like a face, a time, like all like so like I know all 26 names. I know all 26 names.
Oh, see, I can't say that.
Oh my god.
I know all 26 names.
I'm not even gonna waste my time.
Nope. Can't say
some
that.
of them
Nope.
Some of them I am friends with on social media. So like, like in the past, I'm like, oh, hey girl, how you doing? Happy birthday, blah, 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 nice post, haha, that's funny, nothing sexual outside of that. But I really got dragged though for being what
were they dragging you for? Was it too low of a number?
That's what people were saying, and they were like, oh, your number is higher than that. And I was like, first of all, okay. I already told y'all I don't make no sound, 1, when I'm having sex. 2, okay? 2. And although I said a hole is just a hole, I didn't say a hole is not sacred, okay? So people were dragging me and they were like, oh, you got more than that. And I was like, no. Most of my dating experience
26 times 12 and dog year from one.
I am 32 and I'm going on my second relationship that has been 4 years long. So like my numbers are like really small in between my dating years. Like I'm like, sorry, like I've been in like multiple all my relationships with the exception of one have been at least 2 years.
And I'm sure some of those people dragging you have been in relationships and still the number is high. So
and most of my numbers are from the summer of 2013 when Tinder came out or the swipey apps came out.
It's like,
it's just all concentrated in one summer.
That was a great summer.
I was dead. And then on top of that, some people are talking about like, well, I have different body counts. I have an oral body count. I have a topping body count.
Okay.
I have I'm not gonna say no names.
This person is listening.
This person is listening. This person is listening. I ain't gonna say no names. But you know who you is. They all count.
Yeah.
All my sex goes into one bag, and that bag got thrown away.
At first, I thought this bag was like a metaphor for a hole.
Right, and I was confused for a second.
No.
Okay, so back to Truth or Drink. So Truth or Drink, there's these set of cards, and literally we'll probably just pull a random one. We'll go around, ask everybody the same question, and maybe since there's 5 of us now, we maybe just do one round because it gets long-winded. But and you could either answer it or you could drink, and a lot of times we answer it and drink. So
sounds like a plan.
Cool.
Yeah, here we go. Let me see. Let me pull one here. Oh no, that's a stupid question. Okay, have you ever had to contact past partners for a public health reason?
Oh,
I mean, not recently. Like in the past, I have.
Anyway.
I mean, yeah, I've had to like in the past, but like so.
Well, you might want to go get checked.
Listen, and this is the reason why my number's low. This is the reason why, because you go through that and it's so traumatizing to be like, and you don't want to because you got to ask you like, do I text them? Do I call them?
That's funny.
I feel like a text is too disrespectful. So then you call, then you're talking on the phone, and you're like, so how are you doing? You're like making small chat, and then you're like, fuck, I'm in a corner. How do I say you might have chlamydia or some shit
so
like
how
that?
Did you say
like,
it?
So it was a text message.
It's like
It was a text
Oh my
message.
God.
I aborted the phone call. It was a text message, and I was like, so you might have gonorrhea.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Rosé, what about you?
So I've never had to do it, but I did make an ex contact their ex because I thought that my girlfriend at the time gave me herpes, but it turned out not to be the case. But I was like, you call your slutty ex and ask her if she's been tested for herpes because I think I have a herp, and it wasn't. It was a false alarm, but she did go through and call her ex. And
did you say, oops, false alarm? Did you tell her that part?
Well, after the fact, yeah.
So I guess she's not so slutty. My bad.
She's like, no, still slutty. She's like, no, still slutty. Still slutty.
Still don't like her.
Dark and Stormy, what you got?
I truly haven't, because if you think that I knew all the names and phone numbers of the people I slept with, you're crazy. You are insane.
That's hilarious.
No, truly, for the longest time, like I was only incapable of anonymous sex until my last two relationships, which were kind of back to back. So I've been tested and I haven't had to do it, but if I had, I would not know how to contact them. It was a lot of anonymous sex.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
I did have a boyfriend. I've had one long-term boyfriend and one long-term girlfriend. My long-term boyfriend, we matched on Tinder, and the first time we were supposed to meet up, he texted me. I just found out that, like, someone just texted me that they have chlamydia and I might have it too. And we ended up actually dating for 2.5 years. It was my first serious relationship. But our first time meeting was him having a panic attack in my apartment. We were supposed to go on a date. Instead, he came over and just freaked out about chlamydia all night. And we couldn't do anything for
that's
the
a
first.
story.
For real.
We didn't touch each other for the longest time because he was so paranoid.
Oh my God.
Also, this is Carolyn. I think I told you about him, how he was very he would be like, I'm just a lesbian.
A lesbian,
body. But he really was he would never, I never gave him a blowjob. He was just like, I'm just not a blowjob guy. And he just was encouraged me to disregard his dick. And he got off on getting me. It was very so that's who I'm talking about.
I had a panic attack on the first date. I had a panic attack on the first date too, and ended up dating the guy for 5 years.
See, it's a trauma bond.
The only panic attack I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
It's funny though. It's funny because for me, 2 of the 3 girlfriends that I've ever dated are lesbians.
Yes.
and it's funny because they're like, you're also the only guy I've ever been with too. So what happened?
That happens a lot.
Yeah, it does.
And now Jerrell's
Is that
bottom
energy?
and there we go.
The one guy I had a real crush on in high school, he turned out to be gay. I was like, oh, that's why, because he seemed like a very safe choice. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, and I guess I haven't answered this question. I've never had to call anyone, but I've gotten the call, and you're like, motherfucker.
I'm same. I've never had to call anyone, and I've gotten the call twice. One for gonorrhea, and the other one for HIV.
Oh wow!
Nice.
And she's never had anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But gonorrhea, they give you the shot, sometimes even if you're not showing symptoms or okay, just in case or whatever kind of deal. But yeah, I only got the call.
That shot hurts in your booty.
It does. It's sore.
It do.
Okay, who's got the next question?
Can't get away with this that.
Okay, I have a question. Your Google history has been made public. Which search is the hardest to explain?
Well, okay, first of all, I got a question. Are we talking about on our computers or our phones? Loophole.
All the above. Oh, so, okay, y'all always talk
come
about
on now.
Look,
okay. My history.
On top of that,
let me see.
does the private search
Girl,
Tab
all
count
the above.
two.
Yeah,
Look,
incognito.
it's porn. That's not hard to
Incognito,
explain.
okay.
It is not hard
It's the
to explain.
easiest
That
to
shit is
explain.
called porn. Come on now.
No, because the incognito one, it doesn't track.
Girl, it
Yeah,
don't
so I
matter.
guess it's
All
your
the above.
public.
It's
At
your
the
public
end of the
because
day,
the
that's
incognito
just
one,
porn.
it does not. And your incognito one, it does not
See,
track
how do
your
you-
history
how do you
on there.
find your
So
history on your porn.
I know. I'm trying to
I
find
mean,
them, like,
I'm looking at mine right now, and it's
you hit that
Jesus
little. You hit that
Loves Me,
little book
Destiny's
button.
Child.
and wait, it's what, the Destiny's Child? What?
Jesus Loves Me, because I was trying to remember.
Oh,
Do you
I
remember?
love that
Jesus
song
loves
on
me.
me. Oh, yes, he does. Oh,
Gospel
gospel melody.
Hennessy
Yeah.
and Stormy are gonna have like a spin-off episode.
Right?
I love it.
I'm afraid Melody's going to leave Dyking Out now.
I know.
Fun here.
I love
I'm like
it.
going
I
through my
love
history
that
now to
song.
see like
It is
what
such a good
I've been
song.
looking at.
All of
This
mine
is
are like
so
either
boring.
very nerdy, either stuff we're like to figure out for the podcast. I just got ATT fiber, so that's like half of the looks right now.
Ooh, mine's my ex. Yikes.
Ooh.
See, most of mine, most of mine are like, how do you spell this word? Because I'm so bad at spelling stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'll be like, oh, how do you say that? How do you spell this? Or I'll be like,
Oh, man.
you know, words that have like a similar like effect and effect, like stupid little shit like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm 32 and I still don't know that difference.
Ooh,
Like,
okay.
what is this?
Mine is like the Yemen crisis, Tupac birthday,
Yes, recent.
Dro Insecure. I just looked up Dro Insecure for some reason. I don't know why I did that.
Dro?
Yeah, Dro from Insecure show. Yeah, ATT Fiber,
Okay.
black-owned grocery in Atlanta,
I guess
Barack
this-
Obama, Logic.
Yeah, mine's
This might
very
be hard to
political right now.
Yeah.
Mine might be hard. No, I don't know if it's hard to explain. I got one that says art African thick. And it's not what you think it is.
Okay.
It is a Keith Haring
Oh, nice.
portrait of an African character drawn with thick lines, but it's called art. It's called African thick, is
like
what it is
thick,
called.
yes. Okay,
Everything else in here is like-
it sounds like all of ours are boring.
Yeah.
Jesus Loves Me, Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
I'm going to say embarrassing song
African
lyrics are
art.
probably
Jesus.
it.
Right.
Oh, really? Wait, what's
As
an
she's,
embarrassing
as,
song?
as
though?
she's saying that she doesn't remember her count though.
Right?
I might have to pull out the dirty cards.
I know. I was like, I need to
Yeah.
I need to go through like my computer history. It's probably like some, even though I don't know.
I can't think.
Mine is just
Yeah.
boring shit.
All right, I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
Do you think you have more or less sex than your next door neighbors?
Mm.
As I look out the window, I'm like, huh.
I don't know. My upstairs neighbors, I feel like I have less. I feel like I hear a lot of
Oh yeah.
Like going in.
Yeah. A lot going
I
on
would
there.
say right now, I feel like during the quarantine, we haven't had as much, surprisingly.
Right. Same.
Yeah.
Like, quarantine is just like, I don't know, like ruined the mood. almost
Dried
in a
up.
way. And it
Yeah.
might be because we're around each other like almost damn near 24/7 because I'm working from home. So after a while, you're like getting on each other's nerves a little bit. And you're just like, leave me alone. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It just feels like at least during COVID, but I guess normally, I don't know. That's a very good question. We got two like the straight couples on the side of us. There's the lesbians across the street. I doubt the lesbians across the street are having that much because they got like a couple kids.
Because
so
they're
I'm sure
lesbians.
busy. No. And they got like just a lot of kids. They got like
Kids will do
kids
it.
and-
Yeah.
So maybe we're having more than the lesbians. These two right here, they're kind of younger straight couples, so they're probably getting it in all the time. And then this one's like a black couple with a young girl that's probably in like junior high. So I don't know. No, maybe they're.
I would say our neighbors probably have more sex than us. Like we live in a very Ecuadorian and Dominican Republic, like,
I'm in a Caribbean neighborhood too.
and I mean, you know, there are a lot of babies, a lot of babies, a lot of babies. And I'm not trying to stereotype nobody,
Right.
but I'm just saying that
They
if I
get
had
it
to
in.
guess,
Yes.
you're getting it in somewhere or another.
Yeah, I saw a lot of tweets about like, oh man, I'm single. I wish I was like, I had someone to have sex with during quarantine. I feel like couples are not hopeful.
Yeah.
I'm not having. It's like we're saying.
Right, I'm like,
Not
how did
saying
y'all, how did y'all do this math in your head that all of a sudden we're like, oh, we're just gonna be fucking all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I think it just plays into that whole like, oh, because you're in a relationship, everything's like great and
Grass is greener.
blissful. You know, I'm like,
It's like, no, we can hear each other
like,
chew now all day, every day.
Okay.
And that's actually not.
I literally said that to Fizz the
attractive.
other day. He was like,
That's what I keep telling.
and I was, and he does it on purpose sometimes, and I'm like, oh, you know that just,
Like,
irks
just
the fuck
shut
out of me.
Weirdly started chewing with her mouth open in quarantine. She didn't before, and now she does.
But he
We're
only
having
does
less
it
sex because
it
of it.
pisses me off, and I'm like, ooh, you know.
And Rosé, you guys are trying for babies. Has that changed the mood? Has that?
Oh yeah.
What's up with the hormones?
I was gonna say, usually when you're trying to have kids, you're fucking a lot, but when you're lesbians, you're injecting a lot of hormones into your
Right.
body, and you're actually like not supposed to move around much. And then once the eggs are retrieved, which my wife had this morning, you can't have anything inserted into you for I think like a week or two. And then I had coronavirus for 8 weeks, so
That'll do
That
it.
then
will do it.
but I would still say we're having more sex than one
Crossing in
neighbor.
the wind.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Wait,
That's
why
a
are you having-
testimony of love right there.
Why are you having
like,
sex
if you
more
can
than
go
one
that
neighbor?
long,
What's
ooh,
specific about that
child.
one neighbor?
Well, the one neighbor, I mean, she's not even there right now, but she's like single and has a cat, and I never hear a peep out of her apartment. And I knew that she was gone during quarantine because her friend moved in, and all of a sudden it got like really loud next door, and I thought like, oh, my neighbor's really feeling herself in quarantine. She's like bumping the music every night, and
now she's gone.
no, it's just a friend.
Not her.
I will say, I think Fizz and I are those neighbors. Like, I think we are those neighbors who you can just like, and there's nothing you can hear. 'Cause like I said, I'm quiet. It's nothing you can hear me, but like the bed may creak a little, squeak a little bit. You may hear a little thump thump.
Nick's like, yeah, get it, babe, yeah.
No, he's pretty quiet himself too.
Yeah.
I feel bad if our neighbors can hear us.
I'm
My
like,
wife
whatever.
is loud.
For me, I think it's a sign of encouragement. It's healthy.
Yeah.
Like as we said last week, and actually a lot of people who tried to read me last week about those numbers, those body counts, sex positive. It is okay to be sex
Exactly.
positive.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you have another question? I have one right here.
You go ahead. You go, Bill.
Okay. What did you observe from porn that you later realized was unrealistic? How did you make this discovery?
I mean, I'll start, but then I was told that it wasn't unrealistic, but I always thought I don't know.
Let's see.
Women sucking on a strap-on. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
Wait,
no lesbians are
sucking
getting off by giving
on
head
a
to
strap-on?
strap-on.
But some do.
But some do, and
You don't.
lesbian porn, yeah, I've never even tried that, and I learned that through the podcast and somebody calling me out because I was joking about how like I'd never watched lesbian porn because it's like between like the long nails and the stilettos.
You're right. You're like,
I'm like, no, none of this, and especially sucking on the strap on. I'm like, why would you? That's like the benefit of being a lesbian is I'm blissfully unaware of my gag reflex, and I'm, but then somebody called me out on it, and they're like, no, we do that, and I'm like, okay, I guess.
I stand corrected.
I honestly just saw my first like gay porn where like it was a twosome. It was just two people having sex, but then like the bottom was also sucking on a dildo while being fucked. And I was just
so
like,
that was your first time seeing that kind of gay porn, or gay
yeah,
porn,
honestly, no, it was my first time seeing that kind of gay porn. Like I've only seen like threesomes. Like I've only seen it done with like an actual other penis,
Right.
like not with a dildo.
That is
And
true.
I was
think
kind of
seen
like,
that.
and I was like, what? And I was like, I actually think that's kind of hot. I mean, it's in a way, like, for those who believe in monogamy,
yeah,
like myself and my
Right.
partner, like it's ways to create
the
those
fantasy.
types, the fantasy
Okay,
without
yeah.
having to actually do it,
Right,
know? And so
right.
it made sense. And I was just like, wow.
And so you
Way to be
What
creative
taste,
to me.
got
though?
on Amazon.com real quick and said, ooh.
I mean, the little,
Oh no, she don't need
latex.
to already.
Oh,
Everything's
but-
already.
Remember,
over
she
there,
has a
you know?
suitcase.
That is
She has a
true.
She do.
suitcase.
I do got a suitcase. You know, I got my armor
You have a
over
sex
there
toy
already.
suitcase.
I do, girl. Look.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I gotta think. Unrealistic. I would say just some of the
Unrealistic.
positions sometimes. Like you see, you're like, oh, that'd be fun or that'd be hot, and then you either attempt it and you realize you're not that limber.
Yeah.
You know, the one that gets me is the one where like they're like laying on their neck, and then like the legs are in the air, and I'm like, how?
Oh,
is
when they're
all your
upside down.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah,
how?
yeah, yeah.
Like, how is your neck supporting all of that body weight? Like,
It's the
I'm
shoulders.
about to break like a vertebrae, like number 4, 5, and 6
It's
in
the
my neck
shoulders.
here. Like,
I
I'm
would
too
definitely
big for
say
that.
positions. There's some positions where I'm like, okay, it looks hot on TV, but in real life, you're like, I'm not about to pull a
Yeah.
hamstring for this
Mhm.
bullshit. Let's just go back to missionary. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say for mine too. We're like, I didn't realize just how in shape you need to be to have
Bitch,
strap-on
right?
sex too, or I mean to have sex as a man, like to do the thrusting.
It's a
like,
lot of
yes.
thrusting.
I got really
Yeah.
tired, and
True.
For
yeah,
real.
Allie and I were like, I think we need to start working out before we try this again.
Well, they
Like,
say they say that
That's
really
why I
good sex,
bought
you
them.
burn
She's a
about
later
300
kind of girl.
calories.
She ain't putting in the work.
Oh, you're
She
lazy.
ain't put-
You're a lazy
I'm
bottom?
no. I'm not a lazy bottom. Guide me
Power
how you
bottom.
want me. Like you
Uh-huh.
just, you shape and mold me. You're the artist. You paint this
Mm,
canvas
mm,
how you want
mm,
it. I will be there. I used to be
I
a
need
gymnast and a diver,
participatory
so I'm
sex.
still like,
Mm.
I can still, like bring it all the way up.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
still
Okay,
good.
okay.
oh my
You know,
God, I
like,
did
she's
gymnastics
good.
as a kid.
Yes, come on now. Like she's
Mm-mm.
still flexible. She can bust the splits.
Okay,
She,
now. Oh, so
she
so that's not
good.
unrealistic for Hennessy. Hennessy's like, book the busy bitch.
Mm.
I used to think squirting too, but that's real.
They's a big squirter.
Like,
I'm a
she
big
probably got the right one.
I really was like, that's not real. It's a thing.
It's a thing. Oh Lord. Okay, but,
So this goes on YouTube.
right.
Exactly. Oh, I'm
man.
dead. Oh man. Duan, do you have the next one?
What is the kinkiest thing you were ever asked to do but you declined?
Ooh.
Since
We're talking about sex.
Let's
talk about sex, baby. Come on, Carell.
I haven't declined a lot. No, I'm just waiting.
She said beggars can't be choosers. Ow.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I declined fisting.
I don't think anyone's
being
ever
fist-fed.
asked me to be fisted.
Yeah, I've
'Cause
never
I don't do that.
been
And
presented with that.
nothing wrong with that, but I at one point I was dating a guy that was like really into like S&M, and I was like curious, and I think that was like the allure of like dating him, because there was like this whole other world that he was like into. Like he had like a whole situation, like rubber sheets, like the whole
Ooh.
situation, and it was kind of a turn on, but
Definitely.
in reality I'm just like,
That's a lot of
I-
pressure.
don't
Yeah.
well and I'm not really like a bottom, so I don't do that.
Be dominated. Like,
So
I mean, especially if you're not a bottom, that's a lot to do if you
That's a
ain't
big
normally
step.
a bottom.
but it was
Yeah.
like I just remember like it was just like very exciting, because it was like, oh, okay, well maybe I might discover something about myself, and then I was like, no, I ain't discovering nothing.
nah.
Gabby was over here
I
going
like
for
my
goals,
innards
okay?
intact.
She's sticking the landing like,
Right.
like, I can't.
I did it. What about you,
oh,
Rosé?
I
or
got
Stormy?
I got one. My ex-boyfriend had a nylon fetish. So he And I wasn't like opposed to that. I was like, I mean, to
like
see how it
latex
turned on.
or like nylon?
No, like pantyhose, like
He wanted to
like-
wear
Okay.
pantyhose.
no. So at
Okay.
first it was like, I want you to wear the pantyhose, and I was like, okay, fine. It started off with like stockings, and then it turned into like pantyhose, where he would like, I would start off wearing them, and he'd like cut a hole, and like he was like really into me wearing the pantyhose during sex, and then it slowly turned into us like it was like he would initiate sex by being like, do you want to play dress up? And I was like, this is getting like,
It's like this
feels like a huge project.
Just
like
come out of the closet.
let's just have-
dude.
yeah.
When do I
gotta do
start
a-
calling you
we gotta do a
Charlene?
store
For real.
run, like
so yeah,
She
then
said, "Where's
eventually
the script? We're just missing the script at this point. Like where my lines are."
truly
Is
we
my
started
name Issa
watching-
Rae? Come on now.
I know. We started watching pantyhose porn together, and we like Chromecast it to the TV, and then like have sex too. And then eventually, like, I got into it.
Detail.
But well, unnecessary detail. Also, weirdly having deja vu of this moment, which
This is how it goes. This is how it goes here.
Exactly.
This way.
He is sponsored by Chromecast.
Right?
Thank you, Google. Thank you.
I went through a lot. Now I got into it because I would just see how turned on he got, and I was like, that's great. And
That's
but then
really
eventually
exciting.
he
Like,
wanted
when your
to.
partner's really when your partner gets
I was
really
into
excited,
that.
that's a huge turn on.
I agree.
But then he wanted to start wearing it, and I was like, okay, if that makes you happy. But just like seeing him in like granny pantyhose, it was like nude, like beige. It was just such a
the-
turn
like
on.
Like the usher board.
like
Assistant.
pantyhose, like
Yeah.
And it got to run up
He's
the
a-
leg.
Yeah.
AunTea Dark and
Control
Stormy's
top.
out there having like Mormon sex.
You are living up to your name. You are living up to your name right now.
dark shit, man. Dark. I eventually it started to become more and more of a turn off, and eventually we broke up, but he wanted to wear it more and more, and like it actually got really annoying. Like at first I was fine with it, then he wanted me to layer pantyhose, and then it was like eventually I felt like a
Like it's getting
sausage
hot
encasing. It was
and-
very hot. Like
You're looking
Basically
for
my
turning you into a
electricity
drag
bill
queen.
is going up from all this
Looking
AC.
for the
Like I
2 for
can't
1
afford
sales.
this sex.
Next thing you know, Dark and Stormy has an audition tape for RuPaul's Drag Race.
Right.
You know, right? It's like an honorary drag queen for real.
It's like Target has
I just need the padding.
has a 2 for 1 sale right now for pantyhose.
Honestly, it was
you
like
know.
getting expensive because like we would destroy a pair of pantyhose, and then like
That's
I'd have to go and buy another pair.
And I'm assuming he's like a straight guy.
Yeah, he's
So
a
that's
straight guy.
It's always interesting to kind of hear those stories because like a lot of times you hear that maybe more in the gay world, whereas like these different fetishes and fantasies and things like that. So it's always interesting for me to hear like the straight man be like, "Oh, I want to wear pantyhose," you know, because forever they like looked at us as the freaks and the crazy people and this and that, and then behind closed
He's the
doors,
biggest freak.
He's over here cutting up pantyhose.
Yeah.
Like the
And the
usher
last-
board.
In the last 2 years, I've had so many of like my straight like male and female friends like ask me about like anal sex. Kid you not. Like a month ago, I was literally on house party with my sister and 2 cousins, and I was explaining anal sex to them, and like giving them tips on like different sizes of toys and like how to prep for it, and then like I introduced poppers to them, and like, and at the same time, like, Physic is like, what are you talking about? Because like I have my I have my AirPods in, so all he hears is me talking about like dildos and like poppers, and he knows I'm FaceTiming them, but he don't hear anything that they're saying. But it's really nice to hear like the conversation of sex, not just being like such a gay thing to do. Like if you are enjoying your sexuality and your sexism, like it's not just a gay thing to do, it's what we all do.
Right.
You know,
We
so it's
all
been
do
real
it.
cool in the last few years to see like, you know, that happening. But
Yeah, I have a girlfriend who's obsessed with putting her fingers up her boyfriend's butt, and he's a stand-up too, and he's just like,
into it?
what?
You know, we always say though, the aunties, we always say,
A hole
a hole is just a hole.
Just a
You
hole.
know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
His joke is like, I'm not hiding the ring in there. Like she's upset.
Keep
But-
digging.
Yeah, straight people are really getting up on the butt stuff lately.
Hey,
Love it. I love it.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's do one more question.
Okay, let's do one more question. So mine will be.
Make it a good one. No pressure.
I know it's hard. No,
I will say I did poppers for the first time recently.
Really?
Wait,
What are your thoughts on it?
I
Do
get it
lesbians
now.
do poppers?
No, it's like okay.
Teach us. Come on
Auntie
now.
Chardonnay, you live in New
York.
York. Do you know Poppy Juice? It's a like queer
Poppy
POs people of color dance party in Brooklyn. It's called Poppy Juice. So much fun. I don't know. I did it there. Obviously all the gays
like
had
the
it at
name
the
of it,
dance
though.
party.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the
Poppy
one
juice.
that
So
they have?
fun.
It's like in this like it's
That
like,
sounds like our
Warehouse?
group, Carell.
yeah, it's like a warehouse.
Yeah. Multi-level, different rooms.
Yes,
It's like huge.
Yes, and
yeah.
they have different music in different rooms.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yes,
I didn't know
That sounds
was
like
so much
fun.
It's
I
the
wanna
best
go.
queer
A lot of fun.
POC
I
dance
went with my
party.
friend Toby. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did it there, and I just I didn't realize like how lightheaded and how just like
I'm about to feel a little bit.
out of it.
We were in Dallas a few months ago, Carell and I, with our group of friends. What was her name?
Pam.
Pam. She did some poppers, and like her ankles kind of got weak, and she
Yeah.
almost like fell out.
I had to lean
Yes.
on something the whole time.
Yes.
Social
What was that
poppers.
thing from like a week ago or 2 weeks? What is time? Lena Dunham claimed that she did poppers and they made her eat a whole cake, and everyone was like, "That's not a thing."
That's not
That's not a thing. That's not
That's
a
a
thing.
Lena Dunham thing.
That is
Yeah.
a Lena Dunham thing.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
you just wanted a cake.
Yeah, you just wanted a cake. You just wanted a
And
cake.
nothing wrong with eating a cake.
No,
Oh,
don't
my
blame it on the
gosh.
poppers.
Cake.
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 baby,
Hey, come on,
Emily.
Ray. Okay, well, all right, I guess this will be my final one.
Okay.
What is your favorite sexual position and why?
I think we did that one on the husbands episode, but we'll get everyone since this new crew. Mine is, I think I said mine is whatever Corey will give me at the time. Not too picky.
Hey,
Well, when I was with a guy, it was doggy, and it's weirdly now that I'm with a girl and we have a dildo, it's doggy. Like I enjoyed it for a different reason, like on the
Right.
receiving end with
Uh-huh.
men. And now, like with a woman, I'm like
Like-
more of a top in that way, and that
Yeah.
I enjoy
Oh,
it with the
come
dildo.
on
So
now.
that's
Like-
kind
like,
of
take this dick,
interesting
take
to
this
have
dick.
learned.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So
What do you think of Rose?
I was trying to think. I don't know if I have a favorite. I guess like whatever makes me come in the moment.
That part.
Which can be
Put
different
that on a
depending.
t-shirt.
Yeah. I do consider myself a top. I think my wife and I are both kind of verse. So it's just like in the moment, I do like sometimes if we're both kind of sitting, there's probably a name for it, but we're like sitting
Probably.
up and our legs are like on either side of each other, and then we're like fucking each other like face to face like that.
that is
And
the gayest.
Mm.
That is the most lesbian.
It is kinda-
feels very
position.
intense, and I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah.
Yes.
Because in my head, I think that's like the true definition of like scissoring. like,
Oh, my
the
girlfriend's favorite is
stereotype of it.
scissoring.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
There we
she's
go.
a stand-up comic too, and she has material about it, and she's like on this mission to prove that it's a real thing and it's actually the gayest thing you can do. There's
Careful.
nothing gayer than like two vaginas.
Just getting in
Yeah,
there.
she's
love it.
obsessed
I
with
love it.
scissoring.
Hey, whatever
Yeah,
makes you happy.
I wouldn't consider this scissoring, but I feel like it's kind of like, remember in like on playgrounds when you'd be on a swing and then you'd have a friend sit on you like
Yes.
that, and it was like
Uh-huh.
super
Oh, yeah.
gay, and we were just it off like it was a normal
Yeah.
thing for us to all be doing.
Wait, my girlfriend just texted me from the other room. I heard that.
Hey, Allie.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, we guys,
Love
you know
it.
what you're doing tonight after this podcast.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey!
Yay!
At the poppers.
I know. I need some poppers.
I love it.
Man.
Oh my gosh, Rose, when you talked about your analogy about it like being on swings, in my mind, the production value went from here to here. I was like, ooh, okay, Sundance Festival. Like, I need to see this. Like,
What's your favorite position, DeWanda Jerrell?
Doggy.
Doggy.
face down, ass up. That's the way she like the butt.
Oh,
Let them
God.
guts do. I'm just
What
saying.
the?
Next question.
Finish him. Well, I mean, we're at the 2-hour mark right now, so I think we might need to have. We're gonna have you two back on. Actually,
Yeah, we're gonna have to
For real.
have that.
Any-
That's what we're gonna have.
Yeah.
Or maybe
She
we
also
hop on-
just texted me,
hop on
no
your place.
scissoring for a week for you. Great.
She on timeout.
That's
She
a
on timeout. She on timeout.
That's that COVID life.
Yeah, so you guys, have me back while I'm busy not having sex because I divulge all this.
Right.
Well, we're so happy that you guys came out here. Like, give us your latest information. Are you doing any stand-up coming up? Are you doing Zoom
Yes.
stand-up or anything like that?
We have a Zoom show coming
Okay.
up next week. I don't know when this comes out, but
This comes
it's
out
On Monday.
It's
perfect.
Whatever that day.
Yeah.
we have
Thursday
a-
the 25th at 8 p.m.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
How do we see this show?
You'll find out about it. We'll be posting about it on our social media handles, which is at Dyking Out everywhere. We mostly post on Instagram, but also Twitter and Facebook.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And we'll also put all their
I want to
information on
tune
our
in for
socials.
that. Like,
Same
I
here.
want to see this.
Yeah, we need to
Yes.
be part of that. party.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Like no,
community, check them out for
no
sure.
shade to like our other like guests.
Even our
I love them
husbands.
all. I love them all.
Right.
Even the husbands. Even the husbands.
The husband.
But seriously, y'all two had like.
This was a fun episode.
Art
This-
Oh my god.
sick.
I needed this.
Yes.
This is good.
Yes.
I'm ready to go to New York. I'm ready to fly, my 7 hours with my face mask on.
Yes.
To
Yes.
see y'all because I loved this on
This
so
was
many
a
different
blast.
levels.
Me
Like,
too.
Well, community, check out their social media. We'll put it up on our social media. And once again, thank you. And I think we'll see you next week then.
Yeah, have a good one,
Yeah.
guys.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
We'll see you soon. Thank you.